Hey, good evening everyone. It's me, Nisi, and I'm back with another video. I've been studying the last couple of weeks, last couple of months heavily on this subject, and I wanted to talk to you guys tonight about the fallen angels, the watchers, the giants, the Nephilim. I being myself, you guys know that I'm an ancient astronaut theorist, and I'm coming to you with another thought to put in the forefront of your minds. Tonight, I'm going to be reading from several texts. I will preface this video by stating it will be kind of lengthy. So if you have a moment, please grab you a cup of tea, a cocktail, and grab you a pen and paper and also your Bible. I'm going to be reading from the Ethiopian Bible, a book called the Book of Enoch. And also I'm going to read from the King James Version Bible. And also I'm going to read from Mr. Zachariah Sitchin's work from the Lost Book of Enki. Okay. First chapter I'm going to read from is from Genesis chapter 6, verse 1, and it states, "And it came to pass when the men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and the daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they were fair. And they took them wives all which they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of God came in unto the daughters of men, and they bare children to them, the same became mighty men which were of old renown." Okay. Then I'm going to read from Deuteronomy chapter 2 and drop down to verse 20. And it states, "That also was accounted a land of giants. Giants dwelt therein in old time, and the Ammonites called them the Zumuns." The Zumunzis, Zumis, "a people great and many and tall as the Anakims. But the Lord destroyed them before them, and they succeeded them and dwelt in their stead." Interesting how that word is used, Anakims, and we know we've heard about that. I propose right now up front that what he was speaking of was the Anunnaki, okay? When we read that in scripture and text, they're actually referring to the sons of Anuk, and they are calling them different words or different descriptions within the text, but they're really stating it is the Anunnaki. And then I'm going to be reading from Numbers 13:33. I lost my page, and that's what I was doing. I was looking for it. Numbers 13:33 reads, "And there we saw the giants of the sons of Anuk, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight." Okay, we've read from Genesis, Numbers, Deuteronomy. Now we're going to shift gears and we're going to go to the Ethiopian Bible, a portion of it, the Book of Enoch. And we are dropping down to about verse 3, or chapter 3. I'm going to read this setup really quickly. It says, "The rebels among the watchers." And this subject, or this title, is called "The Rebels Among the Watchers." In this story, the fallen angels, the beginning 6:1-2, is virtually identical of Genesis 6:1-2. In Enoch's book, we get their names and many other details. At 6:6, Enoch explains the naming of the Mount Hermon. In the Hebrew, it means curses. The mountain that he was actually referring to is possibly somewhere near Lake Van in Turkey. It is common for translators to update names rather than use phonics. So the few names that appear, mainly mountains and rivers, can't be relied upon accurate indications. We don't know whether there was another mountain called Curses, or even what language the book was originally written in. At 7:2, he says that he had giant sons. I believe that this means not that they were physically big, but powerful and wealthy with private armies. Nonetheless, the watchers may have been larger than the local people. They were giants. Many years of advanced healthcare and nutrition can lead to increasing average size, is what the author is presuming, and he's doing the setup. In the person who translated this book was M. Nib, and also Braden Jason Naphtali, I guess is who they're saying. And in the setup, they're also saying, since they could have children by women, I think it is safe to assume that they are men and not angels or any other non-human entities, since breeding is species specific by definitions. They're regarded as angels by Enoch and his people. See Lamech says as 106-56 in section 10, but Enoch also says they could appear like men when they wished. But even so, he never seems to doubt their divinity. At 8:4, the scene switches to angels in heaven, the watchers at their home base. The activities of the runaways cause them to be noticed. This section ends with some of the watchers asking their headmen what should they do about the runaways. Alternatively, it could be seen as God being informed that no souls wish to incarnate on earth because conditions are becoming so bad. Okay, now that's the sub. And this is what this person is saying that translated the Bible. But I implore each one of you to put on your critical thinking caps and state that if they're angels, they're from heaven. They are extraterrestrials, okay? Let's just get over that word angels and let's just call it for what it is. They were different beings that came to this planet, okay? That's all I'm proposing. So let's read. It says in Rebels Among the Watchers, chapter 3, and it starts 6:1. And it came to pass when the sons of men had increased that in those days there were born to them fair and beautiful daughters. And the angels, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the children of men, and let us beget for ourselves children. And Semyaza, who was their leader, said to them, I fear that you may not wish to do this deed to be done, and that I alone will pay for this great sin. And they all answered him and said, let us all swear an oath, bind one another with curses, not to alter this plan, but to carry out the plan effectively. Then they all swore together and all bound one another with curses to it. And they, in all, 200 and them came down on Ardus, which is the summit of Mount Hermon. And they called this mountain Hermon because on it they swore one and bound one another with curses. And these are the names of their leaders. Now, this has never been revealed in the ancient text or the Hebrew Bible because they left that part out. Enoch, the Ethiopian Bible, the version of that book, it gives this text, and we're going to read them out. Bear with me because the names, I'm going to try to pronounce them as best as I can, okay? The first one, Semyaza, who was their leader. Yerakabah, Ramiel, Kokabel, Tamiel, Ramiel, Daniel, Ezekiel, Barakel, Asiel, Armas, Aniel, Zachiel, Shamsel, Satel, Teril, Yamiel, and Arzael. These are the leaders of the 200 angels and of all the others with them. And they took wives for themselves, and everyone chose for himself one each. And they began to go into them, and they were promiscuous with them. And they taught them charms and spells, and they showed them the cutting of roots and trees. And they became pregnant and bore large giants. This is Enoch's account now. This is Enoch. And their height was, 3,000 cubits. Now, when you translate that, I've seen versions that say 3,000 ells. I'm going to tell you what that is. It's 2 miles high. These giants were 2 miles high. I don't even think we have a building that's 2 miles high. Okay? So just picture that in your mind for a second, okay? Let that download for a minute. 2 miles high, these beings were when they were full grown. These devoured all the toil of men until men were unable to sustain them. And the giants turned against them in order to devour them. And they began to sin against birds and against animals and against reptiles, against fish. And they devoured one another's flesh and drank the blood of it. Then the earth complained about the lawless ones. And Azazel taught men to make swords and daggers and shields and breastplates. And he showed them things after these, and the art of making them, bracelets and ornaments, and the art of making eyes, makeup, and beautifying the eyelids, and most precious stones, and all kinds of colored dyes for their hair and everything else. And the world was changed. And there was great impiety and much fornication, and they went astray, and all their ways became corrupt. Amarazak taught all those who cast spells and cut roots. Amorosas, the release of spells, and Barkiel, astrologers or astrology, Kokabel, potents and tinctures, and Tamiel taught astrology, and Ashriel taught the path of the moon. And the destruction of men they cried out, and their voices reached heaven. And then Michael, Gabriel, Suriel, and Uriel looked down from heaven and saw the mass of blood that was being shed on the earth and all the iniquity that was being done on the earth. And they said to one another, let the devastated earth cry out with the sound of their cries up to the gate of heaven. And now to you, O holy ones of heaven, the souls of men complain, saying, bring our complaint before the Most High. And they said to their Lord, their God, their King, Lord of lords, God of God, King of kings, your glorious throne endures for all generations of the world, blessed and praised. You have made everything, and power over everything is yours. And everything is uncovered and open in front of you, and you can see everything, and there is nothing that can be hidden from you. See then what Azazel has done, how he has taught all iniquity on the earth and revealed the eternal secrets that are made in heaven. And Shemyaza has made known spells, he to whom you gave authority to rule over them who are with them. And they went into the daughters of men together, lay with those women, became unclean, and revealed to them these sins. And the women bore giants, and therefore the whole earth has been filled with blood and iniquity. And now, behold, the souls which have died and cried out and complained to the gate of heaven, and their lament has ascended, and they cannot go out in the face of the iniquity which is being committed on the earth. And you know everything before it happens, and you know this, and what concerns each of them. But ye say nothing to us. What ought we do to them with about this? Okay, and that's what they're saying. So they went to the throne and they petitioned to the Creator, and they said, look, you know what, all this foolishness is going on down here, and they done too much, and we got to do something about it. So I know that some of you may not be familiar with Mr. Sitchin's work. Some of you may, and you may not like his translations, but there are other people out there who have translated the Sumerian tablets. I am dropping down to tablet number, I believe it is tablet number 9, okay? And I saw these similarities, and I just said I couldn't let it go. I got to bring this to the forefront and just talk to you guys. Yes, it is not the 9th tablet. I'm going to turn this around real quick. The 9th tablet, and that's where we're reading from. Now, the setup on this is it says, now, if you followed me with the Anunnaki, the Anuk, or however you want to pronounce it from the ancient text, it's actually called Anuna or Anunnaki or Anuk, okay? It's all the same deities or the same beings. There were 2 brothers that came down here really quickly. They were mining for gold for the planet, and the 2 brothers had sons, okay? They've had families. They have been on this planet, I don't know how many years. They call it Shars. These beings lived a long time. They were very, very much, large. They had children that were 2 miles high. You already know that they were big. They lived here, I don't know how many Shars. One Shar is 3,600 years. And I think this was like 450,000, between 300 and 450,000 years ago. Okay, so basically what I wanted to do, the setup was, we read the Fallen. We read about the Fallen. But what I found interesting was, and that if you don't read the Sumerian text, you will not know this. The Fallen, it did happen. The Fallen were known as the Igigi or Igigi, okay, I-G-G-I. And what has happened or what has transpired is one of the sons who is from Nibiru, his father's name is Enki, okay, and the gentleman's name is Marduk. He has taken a liking to an earthly female, and he's fallen for her. And he's coming to his father, and he's wanting to discuss marrying this earth being. And that's a no-no, because in their culture, they don't do that. They're from heaven. They created us. They created us as a slave race to mine gold. And so no one has ever done that. And so he's stepping to his parents. And I'm trying to set this up because I don't want to make the video so long. But basically where I'm going to read from is chapter 9. And it drops down and it says, for it came to pass that soon after Marduk to his father Enki came, a matter of great gravity with his father Enki to discuss he wished. Upon the earth 3 sons of Enlil spouses have chosen. Okay, so he's talking about his cousins all chose spouses from Nibiru. And so he wants to do the same thing. And he went to them, and I guess apparently they didn't want to marry him. Okay, different women from Nibiru. Okay, so then he found a woman that he took a liking to. It's Adappa's great granddaughter. Adappa is the first human that was born, Adamu. And so fast forward to that, and he's coming to his father, and he's telling his father, a bride I wish to choose to have a spouse, it is my desire. So did Marduk say to his father, Enki. Your words make me happy, Enki to Marduk was saying. Your mother will rejoice. To hold his words to Ninki, Marduk with a raised hand to his father motioned. So I guess they called her over, and he said, is she one of the young ones who healed the Sokur give? Enki went on to ask, a descendant of Adappa she is. Uh-oh. Of earth, not of Nibiru, is she, Marduk whispered softly. With a puzzled look, Enki was speechless, then in controlled words he shouted, a prince of Nibiru, a firstborn to succession entitled an earthling will espouse? Not an earthling, but your own offspring, to Marduk said, a daughter of Enkimi, who to heaven was taken she is. Sarpent is her name. Enki, her spouse Ninki summoned. To her, what with Marduk transpired, he related. To Ninki, which is Marduk's mother and Enki's wife, his mother Marduk, his heart's desire repeated, and he said, what my father once said, I with my own eyes witnessed. He's talking to his mother. Step by step on this planet, a primitive being, one like us to be, we have created. In our image and our likeness, civilized earthling is, except for the long life, he is we. A daughter of Enkimi, my fancy caught, her to espouse I wish. Ninki's, her son's words she pondered. And the maiden does she gaze to your appreciate, she asked. So did she, Marduk asked. Indeed, she does, Marduk to his mother said. This is not the matter to consider. Enki with a raised voice said, if our son this shall do to Nibiru with his spouse, he will never go. His princely rights on Nibiru will forever be forsaken. To this, Marduk with a bitter laugh responded, my rights on Nibiru are non-existent. Even on earth, my rights as firstborn have been trampled. This indeed is my decision. From prince, a king on earth become the master of this planet. Let it be so, Ninki said. Let it be so, Enki also said. They summoned Martashal, the bride's brother of Marduk's wish they told. Humble but with overjoyed Martashal was. Let it be so, he said. When of the decision Enlil was told, now Enlil's Enki's brother, and y'all know I've talked about Enki and Enlil. Them two are like oil and water, Hatfield and McCoy's. So he told his brother that this was about to pop off. And he was mad. Okay, so let's just skip down to this. It says, when of the decision Enlil was told, with fury he was seized. It was one thing for the father with earthlings intercourse. It is another matter for the son of an earthling to espouse lordship or bestow to her. When Nimma of the matter was told, greatly disappointed she was. Marduk, any maiden of ours could espouse, even from my own daughters by Enki he could choose. Half-sisters as his royal custom he could espouse, so did Nimma say. So basically, let me stop there. They did a lot of interbreeding. They married sisters, and brothers married sisters, and it was just interbreeding with this race. So that's what they did. That was their custom. So because they didn't choose, because he chose outside of the race of a human, and because she wasn't, family, that was a no-no. So there was 2 strikes against them. Okay, so it says, with fury Enlil to Anu on Nibiru of the matter words beamed up. So I guess he got in his spaceship and he, called up and did a video chat. Too far has this behavior gone. It cannot be allowed to Anu the king, Enlil said. On Nibiru, Anu, the council summoned the matter with urgency to discuss. So the king, Anu of all, he called a council meeting. And he got all of his scribes and all of his savants and everybody he summoned the matters and to discuss the consequences. On Nibiru, Adappa, the maiden's progenitor, could not stay. To Anu, they were saying. Therefore, to return to Nibiru with her, Marduk, forever must be barred. Indeed, having to earth cycles become accustomed, even without her, Marduk's return impossible might be. So were the savants to Anu saying, with that the councils to agree. Let the decision to earth be beamed. Anu was saying, Marduk marry can, but on Nibiru a prince he shall be no more. The decision by Enki and Marduk was accepted. Enlil too to the word from Nibiru bowed. Let there be a wedding celebration in Eridu, and let it be Ninki to to them say, in the Eden, Marduk and his bride cannot stay. So Enlil, the commander and the earthly king at the time, said to his brother Enki, let us to Marduk and his bride a wedding gift make, a domain of their own away from Eden in another land. So did Enki to Enlil say. So to that what land of the domain are you speaking? Enlil to his brother Enki said, a domain above the Abzu, which is in Africa, in the land that upper sea reaches, one that by waters from Eden is separated, that my ships can be reached. So to Enki to Enlil, let it be so, Enlil said. In Eridu, a wedding celebration, Enki for Marduk and Sapran arranged. Okay, so they were getting ready to have a celebration. They had a great multitude of civilized earthlings in Eridu assembled, and they also had the young Anunnaki also attended, and the Agigi from Lamu in great numbers came. The Agigi are the watchers, and Lamu is Mars. Okay, when you go back and you read the translation in the tablets, you see that. So it says, to celebrate our leader's wedding of Nibiru, a earth and a union, to witness we come. So did the Gigi, their arrival in large numbers, explain. So they used this wedding to come down. The 200 came down for a wedding, and of course our text, the canonical Bible, leaves that out, but in the Sumerian tablets it says that. So now, to celebrate our leader's wedding of a Nibiru and earth, a union to witness we come. Now this is an account of how the Igigi, the daughters of the earthlings, abducted the women, and how afflictions followed, and a Sedra Sutra oddly was born. Sedra Sutra, if you know from a previous lesson, is Noah. Okay? In great numbers, the Igigi from Lamu to earth come. 1/3 of them on Lamu stayed. To earth came 200 to be with their leader Marduk. His wedding celebration to attend was their explanation. Unbeknownst to Enki and Enlil was their secret. To abduct and to conjugation was their plot. Unbeknownst to the leaders of earth, a multitude of Agigi on Lamu got together. What to Marduk permit is from us to should not be deprived to each other, they said. Enough of suffering and loneliness of not offspring ever having was their slogan. During their comings and goings between Lemur and earth, the daughters of the earthlings, the Apodite females, as them they called, they saw them, and after they lusted, and to each other of them they plotted, and they said, come, let us choose wives from among the Aphrodite females, and children beget. One among them, Shemgaz, or Shemyaza, as we read from the book of Enoch. His name was their leader, became. Even if none of you agrees, I alone the deed shall do to others, he said. If a penalty for this shall be imposed, I alone for all of you shall bear it. One by one, others in a plot joined together by an oath together to do it if they swore. By time of Marduk's wedding, 200 of them on the landing place ascended. Upon the great platform, the Cedar Mountains they came. From there to Eridu they journeyed. Among the toiling earthlings they passed. Together with the earthlings strong in Eridu, they arrived. After the wedding ceremony of Marduk and Sapant, they had taken place by signal prearranged by Shemyaz or Shemgaz or Shemyaza. To the others a sign gave, an earthly mating each one of the Agigi sees. By force them they abducted. To the landing place in the Cedar Mountains the Agigi with the females went. And to a stronghold the place they made. To the leaders a challenge they issued. Enough of deprivation and not having offspring, the Apodite daughters to marry we wish. Alarmed the leaders were of Marduk, the Agigi commander charged to take them, demanded. If in the matter I solution must seek with the Agigi, my heart is in agreement is. So did Marduk to the others say, what I have done from them cannot be deprived. Enki and Nimrod, their heads shook with begrudging agreement they voiced. Only Enlil was enraged with pacification. So I'm going to stop there. You know he went back to Anu and they had another council meeting, and you know what ensued after that. So again, I wanted to come to you guys and just talk to you briefly and give you the knowledge and read the scriptures to you all and let you all know what has happened. So we've read from the Ethiopian Bible, we've read from the Sumerian text as per Zechariah Sitchin, and we've also read from the King James Version Bible. And I'm going to put in some links underneath this video so that you guys can go out there and take a look at Roger Sperling's Mud Fossil University, where he has discovered remains of the giants, or of humans and of human creatures. So it is documented in the text, and now we have proof, scientific evidence that has been tested, that we have the information now at this juncture in our technology, that we have the test results showing that there was organic material. So everything around us, basically what I'm saying on this earth, is of dead organisms or matter. We've been taught that it's geology, that it's rocks, but I dare say that it isn't. It isn't. What we've been taught or what we've been told is not the truth. And so I will let you guys be the judge of it. I will link everything in the text of this video. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I hope this has been informative to you all. I hope that you guys have learned something. We put this together and now we understand what has really transpired. And so with that being said, I love you guys and have a great night. And please remember, be the change that you want to see all around this planet. Bye.